Welcome to the Path to Mindset Mastery podcast. My name is Brad Bizek. I am a mindset strategist and coach, inspirational speaker, and creator of Appreciation Academy, and I'm on a mission to help online business owners break through all the negative self-talk and limiting beliefs preventing their dreams. And before we dive into today's topic of money, I am super pumped to introduce a contest to help spread the word about this mindset stuff, and so we can help even more people break through. And I'm offering a one-on-one, completely free life coaching call with me, where we're going to break through everything holding you back, and it's going to be freaking awesome. So here's how it works. Before we dive into the topic of money, the first 50 people who do the following will be entered into a drawing to win a one-on-one call with me. So first, all you gotta do is head to the podcast on iTunes. It's called The Path to Mindset Mastery with Brad Bizek. Head to that podcast on iTunes, give it a rating and review. Then you're gonna take a screenshot of that. Number 2, you're going to download every episode that I have available on iTunes. And number 3, you're going to share this podcast with 3 of your friends or teammates. And if you do those 3 things, all you got to do is send an email to brad@bradbizek.com with your screenshots that you completed it. And if you meet the above requirements, you'll get entered into a raffle for a free one-on-one call with me. So let's spread the word, let's help some people, and let's dive in to this topic of money. And I'm curious, how is your relationship with money? Do you ever feel like there's too much month at the end of the money, or you see your student loan debt looming over you and it feels like you can't break through and you don't know why or don't know how, and maybe sometimes it feels like every paycheck disappears and you wonder what's actually going on. It's almost like even if you make a good living, money seems to be evading you. And you see all these other successful people crushing it with their business and bringing in hundreds of thousands, even millions of dollars, and you just feel defeated, almost like their win is your loss, and you don't know how to break through. If that is you, we're going to break through that today. I went through that for a very long time, and it started way back in my childhood when I would see my parents scream and yell and fight about money. And I didn't understand why that happened, and it hurt. And there were always fights. There was always something about money that caused these screaming matches. So I grew up thinking that money was bad. I believed that money equals pain, and it even took me 6 years to propose to my wife. Because I thought that if we got married and had money, it would rip us apart. And so I thought money was bad. That's my point in saying that. I thought money was bad, and I witnessed my family work so hard just to barely get by. And it's just how I thought it was. So when I started my business, I had these big dreams, these big goals, but I had this lingering, looming belief that money was terrible and it sucked. And so there was always too much month at the end of the money. And I remember seeing my student loan debt at $92,000 and just being like, how the fuck am I ever going to pay that off? And it just seemed like something that I was going to have for the rest of my life. And then you pair that with all the people in my life believing that debt was just something that you had and you had to deal with forever, and it just sucked. It just sucked. And I felt so stuck financially. I didn't understand how all aspects of financial abundance worked. And one day, I overdrafted my bank account again, like normal, and it was just like something clicked. It was just like I got fired up about being broke. Like I was just so fed up with it, and I was fired up to create a new life. And I got fed up with just trying to survive, and I set out on a mission to learn how to be wealthy. And I studied the top minds in finance. I invested thousands of dollars on a credit card that I didn't have for personal growth and development, because I knew if I was going to change my life, I had to be a completely different person. In fact, I think you should go into debt to learn the skills that will get you out of debt. That's a whole other topic that we're going to talk about later today. And so after a couple years of studying how money worked, we broke through. We set up a game plan. We changed our mindset, and we paid off $92,600 of student debt in less than 2 years. And I don't say that to impress you. I say that to impress upon you that it's your mindset that makes all the difference. And I'm going to teach you how we did it in just a second. But along the way, I realized that it doesn't need to take you years to know what to do. I can literally teach you in one podcast episode, so you can create a game plan today to get out of it yourself. So how would that benefit your life? What would life look like if you had financial freedom and choice and the ability that you earned financial freedom instead of begging for financial freedom, how freeing would that be? Where would you be able to travel? What could you accomplish? Who would you serve? And that's what I'm going to teach you today. Money is actually extremely simple, and it's broken into two things. Number one, a new money mindset, which is super, super important. And number two, behavioral action steps. That's what we're going to talk about as well. So I'm going to show you exactly what I did in detail in just a minute. So stay tuned for that. I'm going to show you exactly what I did. But first, you need a paradigm shift if the behaviors that we did will ever work for you. So stick with me through this and just trust me, trust the process. This will work. So you can change your life with this. You absolutely can. You have the ability to transform your relationship with money today. You really do. You might be terrified of money. You might have it, but don't know how to use it, or you waste it. You might feel like you might not be able to ever earn it, or that you're not worthy of it. You might feel like you have to work your ass off just to barely get by, like I did. Plenty of situations. But my point is simple, that you can create a financially amazing life that you've always wanted to live. And it starts with a new money mindset. So let's start there. It all circulates around one word, and that word is abundance. That is the number one word that will break you through. You need a perspective shift. And what I'm about to tell you about is the baseline of everything that will help you break through. You guys ready for that? So here's where it starts. Please understand this and write this in your notes. No matter what your financial situation is, if you are listening to this podcast, you are not broke. I do not give a shit how much debt you have. Money is not tight for you. Ask yourself where you're getting contrast from. Are you looking at the millionaire that you aspire to be and you're like having contrast from there and you're going like, okay, if I compare to them, like I'm going to be wallowing in my sorrows all day long because I don't have nearly the amount of success that they do. But let's have some perspective and prove that you are not broke. Like if you're focused on how you're overdrafting your bank account, that's what you're focusing on a regular basis, or how you can't pay those student loans off. But have you ever thought about the fact that 2/3 of the world lives on $2.50 a day, $900 a year? How much do you and your spouse earn in 1 week combined? Is it $1,000? Is it $2,000? Is it $5,000? Is it $10,000? Is it $900? Doesn't matter, because I bet you earn more in 1 week as a family than most people do in a year. So just take your 1 week salary, whatever that is combined, for you and your spouse, and just imagine living off of that for a full year. How would that work? How would that happen? You are not broke, regardless of whatever your financial situation you have is. You're not broke. Sometimes having perspective is the key to freedom. And I'm not saying don't aspire for the millions. You absolutely should. But if you're going to get contrast, have some real perspective and realize that on your brokest week, you are rich beyond measure. If you are poor in the United States or Canada or the UK, you're in the top 1% of the world, or Australia, you're in the top 1% of the world. You don't have significant money problems, regardless of how much debt you have. You got to go to college and get an education. You do not have significant money problems. So we need to start there and have some perspective before we even get into what Janice and I did. That perspective started to open up the gateway to abundance for me, because I stopped hating my situation and I started realizing that I was blessed beyond measure. Even if I wasn't at my goals yet, you are too. And once you can start seeing that, your financial life will change very, very quickly. This is basically Abundance 101. By the way, what is abundance? If you're thinking about goods and services, what is an abundant good? It means that there's plenty of it available, right? That's what abundance really is. So an abundant money mindset means that you believe that money is out there for you. You just gotta get it. It's you believing that you have so much amazingness in your life already that you're so excited to create more. It means that you'll proudly invest in a coach or a seminar because you know that the money is gonna come back to you. It's you having faith. It's you being grateful for the situation that you already have. That is abundance. It's loving what you currently have in your life. But what's scarcity? If you're thinking about goods and services, what is a scarce good? And by the way, I'm gonna get into the strategies that Janice and I use to get out of debt in just a second, but this is so important for you to understand first, because if you do all the strategies and you don't have the right mindset, it's not gonna work. So what's a scarce good? What's scarcity? Think about it for a second. Scarcity means there's a limited supply, right? Well, do you believe that if you invest your money in personal growth, it's not gonna come back? Or if you buy a ticket to that seminar, that you're going to lose that money forever? That's a scarcity mindset, Do you believe that money is hard to make? That's scarcity. It's you coming from a place of lack. Do you see your current life, how things are, as not enough? Do you think it should be somewhere else? That is scarcity. So let me ask you a question. Is money in this world in limited supply? No. It is not a scarce resource. In fact, if you put the same amount of effort that you currently do into freaking out about not having enough money into making money, you'd be wealthy faster than you ever thought possible. So much quicker. So if you're worried about money, this is so important to understand. Put this in your notes. If you're worried about money, it's like praying to have less of it. That's what worrying is, because wherever focus goes, energy flows. To quote Jen Sincero, your external world is just a mirror for your internal world. So if you want more money in your life, you have to believe that your life is already enough as is. You have to be grateful for everything. Write this down. Gratitude is the gateway to abundance. It's so important that you understand that. Seeing your current good is the fastest way to increase more good. If you're God, the universe, whatever you believe in, are you going to give more to the person that's bitching about having less? Or are you going to give more to the person that loves everything they already have? Wealth appreciates for the appreciative. You need to understand that wealth appreciates for the appreciative. That is your new money mindset. So start there. And if you do, the behaviors I'm going to talk about in just a second will actually make a difference in your life. Otherwise, they're going to do nothing. So let's go to step 2. Step 2 is the behavioral actions that you can take to get out of debt. The behavioral actions that you can take to move your life forward. And the first couple things probably sound a little woo-woo. And as we go through these strategies, they're going to go from more mindset focused down to tactical budgeting strategies that I'm actually going to give you. But if you want the shortcut, that's the reason you're broke, right? You just need to trust the process and change your mindset. So number 1, in terms of behavioral changes you can make, I started, and I'm dead serious about this, I started being grateful for every little thing that I could. This microphone that I'm recording with right here, the pen that I use to write my notes down, this computer that I'm recording this on, all of it, my dog sitting on the couch. I started practicing just being grateful for the littlest shit, because wealth appreciates for the appreciative. So I would just say that I'm grateful all day long. I'm grateful for this chair because it means I have a comfy place to sit, whatever it is. You focus on being grateful for the small things. You're training your mind for abundance. That's the first thing I did. And I know that sounds kind of woo-woo, but I'm telling you for sure, it works. Number 2, you're gonna think I'm crazy, but it works. Number 2, the next tactical strategy you can do to create more financial freedom in your life is start giving your money away. Start giving your money away daily. And I am dead serious. I gave $5 to the Tony Robbins Foundation every day for months. And now we give way more to charity. Now we invest in the Donny Eye Institute for helping people that have LHON and can't see. It's like a genetic disease. We give thousands of dollars every month to that. So I started by giving $5 to the Tony Robbins Foundation every day for months when I didn't have money. Now, you can pick anything you want to give to, but why would I do that? Why would I give money if money is tight? Because giving is the secret to wealth. One of the best ways to create an abundant money mindset when you're used to living in a scarcity mindset is to give your money, small amounts of it, to others and be grateful for how you're making them feel. I'm dead serious. And I'm gonna get into the budgeting stuff in a second, but I'm dead serious. Obviously, take care of your needs and yourself first, for sure, 100%. And if you genuinely can't give $5 away, then give your time. Start focusing on giving more, and it comes back, I'm telling you guys. But think about this. If you can't donate 10 cents out of $1, do you think you're gonna give away 100,000 out of $1 million? Nope. Scarcity would say, I can't afford my bills. Why the fuck would I give $5 today? That's a scarcity mindset. Abundance would say, I am making someone else's life better and this feels awesome. I know the money's gonna come back because money's just energy. That's all it is. Which of those two statements feels lighter, by the way? I can't afford my bills. Why would I give money away? Or I'm making someone's life better. Which of those two statements feels lighter to you? And which of those two statements are you going to be more likely to build a business from or more likely to earn more money from? Obviously the latter, because money isn't as heavy of a topic. So that's number 2. I started donating my dollars regularly. Number three, I studied the crap out of money. So just like Jim Rohn said, if you want to be happy, study happiness. If you want a thriving marriage, study love. If you want wealth, study money. I dove deep into books and podcasts from the smartest financial minds on the planet. I read for my money mindset. I read Jen Sincero's You Are a Badass at Making Money. I read The Millionaire Next Door. I read Rich Dad Poor Dad. Those are great books for a money mindset if you're challenged by that. Then Janice and I invested in Dave Ramsey's Financial Peace University. That's an amazing starting point, right? I have different strategies for investing, but that is a great starting point for debt. It's the basics to get your butt out of debt. It's very, very helpful. Then I started studying Unshakable or Money Master the Game by Tony Robbins, where he interviewed the top 50 richest people in the country and how they made money. Then I started reading Peter Mallouk's 5 Mistakes Every Investor Makes. I learned the impact of fees and taxes on my retirement accounts. In fact, I learned that 5%, this is huge, 5% of any financial planner legally has to act in your best interest. 5%. Isn't that insane? Less than 5% actually. Even if they think they're helping you, they're trained to recommend their company's product. They're a broker. And even some fiduciaries can be acting in your best interest in the morning and not acting in your best interest at night. So they think you're helping you, but they're not. That's how it's insane how much I've learned about wealth from studying the billionaires. And I recommend that you do it too, because we save literally 2/3 of our retirement savings from reading one book. That's powerful. So my point in this is study money regularly. That's number 3. Number 4, this is where we start getting into really tactical stuff. I stopped listening to my family and unsupportive friends. That's why I stopped listening to people that didn't have what I want. I listen to my supportive friends, I listen to my board of directors in my life, but here's the thing, 98% of people out there are gonna settle for being in debt. They're gonna settle for financial irresponsibility. They're gonna think that this is just the way it is. They'll say things like, you only live once, you gotta do this. Or like when you just pay the minimum and go on trips with us, why won't you do that? Or when they're buying a car, they'll ask things like how much per month instead of how much does it cost total. That's scarcity versus an abundant mindset. So I had to be acutely aware, just like you do, of who I was taking advice from. Do not take investment advice from your broke stepfather. Don't take advice from other millennials that are struggling financially for how you should get out of debt or what you should do with your money. It doesn't make any logical sense. So stand guard at the gates of your mind and let people who have walked the walk influence you. Janice and I realized that we were in the minority and that most people would likely think that we were absolutely crazy, but we didn't care. We wanted to be debt-free by 30 and we did it. So keep your vision intact and listen to the people that have what you want instead of people that have what you don't want. That's number 4. Number 5, get really freaking good at saying no to things that don't support your vision. And this is a big one. This is huge, astronomical. What we often do is compensate for our lack of financial freedom by buying shit that doesn't actually make us feel good. We do things that make us more stressed. We online shop, we buy TVs, we take unnecessary trips. Now, I'm not saying that you should live like a hermit. That's not what I'm saying. You should absolutely build some fun into your budget, but my point is simply that when you don't have financial control, it feels temporarily good to have purchasing power. It feels temporarily good to book that vacation or to finance that unnecessary car or to invest in electronics or to online shop at Express or even as something as simple as what I used to do, which is buying movies on iTunes. All of those things are likely filling a void to make you feel better about being in debt or not having financial control. Remember that you can feel rich any second that you want to if you follow the mindset strategies I talked about above. Because remember, wealth appreciates for the appreciative. Gratitude is the key to abundance. So if you don't practice that mindset, insert online shopping, insert stupid spending choices that actually bring no fulfillment whatsoever. The fulfillment you're looking for is in here. It's in your heart. So say no to more things that aren't bringing you to your goals. For example, one of the best activities I did was that I printed out this is gonna drive you crazy if you do it, but just do this. I printed out our bank statements for the last year, and I highlighted all of the things that we spent money on that were unnecessary. the iTunes movies, the express clothes, the subscription boxes, the shopping at, the nicer grocery stores instead of Meijer, whatever it is, whatever your version of unnecessary spending is based on what you value. I'm not here to tell you that, that's up to you. Whatever your version of unnecessary is, print out your bank statements, highlight it. Now what you're gonna do is total it up and look at how much closer you could have been to financial freedom by now. And some of you are going, what? I never want to do that. That would be absolutely terrifying. But when you see that number, it will light a fire under your ass to show you how much you spent on unnecessary shit. You will be blown away by how much you spent. For us, it was thousands of dollars that we could have been out of debt faster. That is number 5. Say no to a lot of stuff and count the number of things that you spend unnecessary money on, and then let that light a fire under your ass. Number 6. Super important. We lived off of only Janice's income, and we still do. So if you can do this, obviously if you're single, this doesn't make sense, but we lived off of one income and we followed a zero-based budget. We lived off nice. We lived off of one income and we follow a zero-based budget. Okay, so living off of Janice's income, that's how we chose to live, and then everything that I made went towards debt, period. Everything I made went towards that period. And here's the thing. I'm willing to bet with absolute certainty that if you live off of one income instead of two, you'll be totally fine. Your lifestyle will have to go down, absolutely, but that's only temporary. But you'll adjust. Live like no one else so you can live like no one else. Live off of one income if you can, if it's possible for you. And then to take it a step further, live below your means on that one income. So if the one income you live off, let's say it's $70,000, then live off of 40. Game changer. Or if the income that you have on one side is $100,000, live off of 50. Game changer. And yes, you will have to make sacrifices to do this. You will have to cut some things, but it will be worth it, because I can tell you, as someone who is debt-free, it feels so fucking good to not have to owe anyone anything anymore. It feels amazing, and you can have the same feeling. So live below your means off of one income and then follow a zero-based budget. What does that mean? What is a zero-based budget? It means that you write out your necessary, keyword necessary, expenses, your monthly expenses and your monthly income. You subtract your expenses from your income, and whatever's left that month, you put it towards debt, making the balance at the end of that month zero, right? That is a zero-based budget. Obviously, you want an emergency fund in place, 100%, to take care of any super big deals, right? But expenses or income minus expenses, anything left, to debt. That is a zero-based budget because the number at the end is zero. Dave Ramsey is a great resource for this, and I highly recommend that you look into his programs. Incredible. But if you follow a zero-based budget, you're essentially giving every dollar a name. You're giving every dollar direction. And this is so important because if every dollar doesn't have a name or a purpose, guess what's going to happen? It's going to disappear. Does that sound like someone you know rather intimately? Maybe yourself? Follow a zero-based budget and the game will change. That is number 6. Number 7. This is important. Celebrate the shit out of every little win. Every little win you celebrate. Wherever focus goes, energy flows. The mistake that I made along the way is looking at how far I had left to go when I made a debt payment. I remember when I would make a big payment to get down to $86,000. When that happened, I looked at it and I was going, shit, man, I still have $86K to go. Wrong mindset. It started creeping in again when we got halfway done with that. Instead of celebrating that we paid off $46K, I focus on how we have 46 left to go. My point is simply this: whatever you focus on, you're gonna feel. So if you focus on the disappointment because of your balance being so high, you're gonna feel it. And that's what you'll focus on, and the debt will take longer to pay off. But what feels better and gives you more momentum? Focusing on, shit, I still have 46K left to go, or, oh my gosh, babe, we paid off 46K already. That's amazing, right? Which feels lighter, which brings you more excitement to keep going. Wherever focus goes, energy flows. So celebrate the smallest wins. Even if it's $50 towards your debt, celebrate it. It makes this process so much easier. Number 8, I'm going to get some disagreement here, but this is so important that you do. Number 8, invest money into your personal growth. This is so critical, and it sounds counterintuitive. Wait, Brad, you just said that I should say no to some things. I said say no to things that are compensating for lack of fulfillment and short-term solutions, right? Short-term things to bring you joy. Your personal growth and development is a long-term solution that brings you abundance and happiness and more than just joy, because you won't earn more, save more, give more, or create more unless you become more. A lot of people are trying to get out of debt and save all this money from the place that they currently are. You need to elevate who you are if you ever want to get out of debt, if you ever want to get to the next place. So investing in your personal growth is by far the best money decision you can make. It will come back. You will never, write this in your notes, you will never go broke from investing in yourself. Ever. You will never go broke from investing in yourself. If you need to, I highly recommend you take out credit cards to pay for that coach. You make that happen. You take out that loan to make it happen. You invest in that seminar on a credit card. You make that happen. If you know in your heart that that seminar is what you need to get to the next skills, to the next level, you pay for it. People didn't agree with me on this. People close to me didn't agree with me on this. It is the only reason that my business has thrived, because I took the money that I didn't have and invested it in learning from people that had what I want. Whether it's through me or through another personal growth expert that you trust more, if you can't afford something, that is why you must find a way to invest dollars in your mindset and your skill sets. Those people you're learning from are shrinking their years of growth into days for you. You cannot afford not to buy online courses. You cannot afford not to buy those seminars or go to those seminars. If I found a way to pay for those things when I was broke, because I knew that it would lead me to success, and it did. So what I did was I learned from the people that had what I want, so I created it. And that's like why the first part of this episode is so important. It's hard to see that when you think things are really tight, when you believe money's not going to come back to you. But when you believe that money is abundant everywhere, it will come back. And so you invest in that growth, things come back to you. That's why the first part is so critically important. That's how Janice and I did it. And the truth is, it doesn't matter how long it takes you. You might have 2 kids and be a single mom. You might have less income than we do. That's okay. It doesn't matter how long it takes. The principle is what matters. And the principle is that you're not meant to be a slave to money. It doesn't matter if you do it as fast as we did or if it takes you 10 years. It doesn't matter. My point is simply this: you are not meant to live in mediocrity. You are meant to feel fully alive every single day. So find a way to use these points daily, and I promise you that it's worth it. And remember our contest. I am offering one-on-one coaching to the first 50 people to do the following. Your names will be entered into a drawing to get a one-on-one call with me. Number 1, you head to my podcast on iTunes, you give it a rating and review, take a screenshot of it. Number 2, you download every podcast episode that I have available on iTunes. Number 3, you share this podcast with 3 of your friends or your teammates, and then what you're going to do is you're going to send an email to brad@bradbizjack.com with your screenshots that you completed those 3 things, and if you meet the above requirements, you'll be entered into a raffle for a free one-on-one life coaching call with me. So let's spread the word. Let's help some people. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Path to Mindset Mastery today. My name is Brad Bizjack. Go out there every single day and live your life with a genuine smile on your face, because you can. I'll see you next week.